Oh yeah, we are live.
Yep, we
Okay.
are.
Okay, hey everybody, this is Jesse. We're having a good time right now. This was not a planned session. At least it was planned between Seth and I, but it was not a planned session as far as um the calendar goes. But I've got my friend Seth here from Dissonant Harmony. He does a podcast. Actually, I was recently on your podcast not too long ago,
Yep.
and we talked beards, we talked Vikings, we talked breath work, and so yeah, we had a good time. And so I've been following um, your message board and your Facebook and everything. And I saw that you were doing a thing called Discipline December, and I hadn't heard of it. So we're going to be talking about it a little bit. We're just gonna chat it out a little bit. Looks like we've got a few people already logging on. Hey, Simple Jim. Hey, Gardo. If you have any questions, just feel free to shoot it our way. We actually were talking though, before I get into it too much, we were talking about how you just got custody of your dog, of a puppy,
Oh,
of
a
a
puppy,
puppy.
yes. Yep.
And what led to that was, uh, yeah, you are able now to sleep in 55-degree temperatures of your home.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I will say, Ron just noticed how we both have majestic beards.
Oh yeah. We're
Um,
missing my co-host Zach, whose
that's
beard puts
right.
both of ours to shame. So
That's right. He has a royal beard. It
he
is an
does.
amazing thing. So
Yep.
send him our love. But basically, yeah, we've been talking a little bit about you're able to sleep in 55-degree uh, temperatures, and how is that for you? I like sleeping a little bit cooler. I like a little bit cooler temperatures. I The coolest I can get, because my wife, darn wife, the
Yeah.
coolest I can go is 68. And then even then I get a few complaints.
Oh,
But
okay. So I have set the thermostat at 60, and then I've closed all the heat vents in my bedroom, which is in the basement. Um,
okay.
and then also I own a thing called a chili pad. I don't know if you've heard what
Oh
those are.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I've been meaning to get one of those. I love being able to sleep in cooler temperatures, but I've
Yeah.
not got one of those. How is the chili pad treating you?
The chili pad is pretty sweet because it's got different climate zones. So if you're sleeping with your wife, there's actually you get one with a dual
Oh,
climate zone,
nice.
and one could be heated and one could be cooled.
Oh,
It
maybe I'll get one of those.
I'm a little extreme, so it gets a little cold on both sides of me. Like you really need to have a blanket over that thing, otherwise
Yeah.
you're gonna get real cold. It's nice.
Nice.
So I
Well,
like when I wake up and my feet feel a little numb. I'm like, I'm doing something right.
yeah, yeah. Well, studies have shown that we do sleep deeper whenever we get that lower temperature. Um, so I definitely, I know for a fact in the summertime, I hate it because we try not to overcool the house and stuff, but yeah, it's always easier to sleep, and I always get a better night's sleep whenever I can actually get some cool air. But anyway, we were talking the whole reason for this live session, and I want to thank everybody for being here on this live. We're talking about Discipline December,
Yep.
and it's a thing that you guys are doing over at Dissonant Harmony. Actually, if you don't mind, just for my audience, they may not be familiar with Dissonant Harmony. If you don't mind, just who are you, Seth? Who are
I
you? And what is Dissonant Harmony, and what is Discipline December?
so I am a nobody. I am a student of many things. I am not professional in anything, but I am a hobbyist for a lot of things. I'm an audio engineer, musician, songwriter, podcaster. Now we added that. My
Yes.
co-host that I'm with is Zach Oidle. He's actually a professional musician. He's traveled around with some metal bands before as like a touring musician, and he teaches lessons. And that's all he does from sunrise to sunset is music, music, music. Whereas I have to have a day job for it. And
Yeah.
I reached out to Zach probably, it's been 10 or 12 years ago now. I was like, hey, Zach, I saw a YouTube video of you talking about using meter to create tension in your songwriting. It's like, can you teach me some of that stuff? And so I signed on and took lessons with him for about a year.
Nice.
And we got really close. I was going up visiting him. He's in Chicago, which is about 6.5 hours from me. And then we kind of just, as time went on, we got close and apart. And then I think in 2018, we recorded like 5 different like demo podcasts.
Okay.
Because we had the idea of doing it. And he went through some health issues that he pretty much fell off the face of the earth for me. Between his health and some family health, he just really wasn't available for me. And I understand that.
Yeah.
But we ended up getting back together. I was up in Chicago for a work trip right before everything shut down for the pandemic. And we sat down and just talked for like 2 or 3 hours. It's like, dude, we need to start this podcast again.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's a musician, so he's kind of, you got to stay on him with stuff. He kind of just goes with the flow, moves around quite a bit. So I stayed on him. I was like, okay, we're going to meet at this time. We're going to do this. We're going to talk about this. Meet at this time, do this, talk about this. And finally we got to the point where we started, we should interview some people, because there are some things that they know that we would like to talk to him about. And our very first interview was a guy, your listeners might not know who he is, but in my realm, he is like a legend. His name's Ron Jarzombeck.
Okay.
He was a writer for a group called Blotted Science. He was in Spastic Inc. and Watchtower. It's all really weird stuff.
Okay.
Really weird, really technical stuff. And listening to that guy speak was just mind blowing. It's the kind of guy that writes his songs like mapped out in Excel before he even like puts hands to guitar. I was like, wow.
You're making me think about the days whenever I was in rock bands. I mean, I remember, we would always be like, yeah, basically we've got to try to beat Tool, which, for us, that was just our ultimate, if you could play a Tool song, that's normally whenever we would play bars and things like that. Yeah. That was the coup de grace. I was like, oh yes, we're going to play Stinkfist. Haha.
Yep.
Hey Alex, good to see you. Thanks for being here. I actually, before we even go on, I want to continue this, but anybody into look, yeah, we got 2 handsome bearded people today, Alex. It's it's a crazy day chatting. Anyway, but okay, but I would love to know if anybody is into you're mostly into metal and like hard rock.
Mostly metal. We're kind of music theory nerds, so we get into a lot of like movie scores and stuff like that.
So how did you get onto this health thing? Because you got a hold of me for breath work.
Yes.
And so I was on this podcast that was mostly about music. Is that right? And then
well, it's split out, because we talk about music, we talk about fitness, we talk about mindfulness, we talk about different things. So, I mean, our topics go anywhere from like songwriting to neural feedback to, we talked to you about breath work.
Okay.
I actually went and tried the Evansville Ketamine Center one time.
Oh my.
For anxiety and depression, and that was really interesting.
Interesting.
We talked to doctors, we talked to or wheelhouse is guitar players, essentially, especially like shred metal guys mostly. But we're trying to branch out quite a bit. We have a couple of doctors lined up that we're going to talk to still that are doing things, and we're trying to keep it open. The idea behind it was, and I kind of drove this foundation because I'm into music. I'm into metal. I'm also into mindfulness. I am into practicing meditation. Before the pandemic, I was spending time with regularly with a Buddhist meditation group every week.
Oh, nice.
And they really taught me to just quiet my mind. They would sit down for like a half hour, 45 minutes every week, and just be silent. And you're like, wow, a group of 20 people sitting in a room completely quiet. So
did you go to a Vipassana?
I did not. What is that?
Okay. Well, that's one of it's a silent retreat. That's what it sounded like to me when.
No, this was just a like 30 minutes of silence.
Hey, that's the thing about meditation is 30 minutes of silence seems like an eternity, especially in the modern world where we've got so many stimuli just back to back to back to back. I had not actually looked at TikTok. I had to peek. I took a peek at TikTok. YouTube is doing these shorts now to try to compete with TikTok. And so that's how I found out about it. And I think it's dangerous, like, because it's incredibly entertaining.
Yes.
It's 1 or 2 minutes. It's a couple minutes, and then you're on to the next thing and on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And then, then try to sit down for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, close your eyes, breathe, and just be. And then I remember the first time I tried that, and it was one of those things where I just kind of muscled it. I think anybody who started with meditation knows, and that's the kind of person I've always been. I've always been the kind of person that's just kind of forced things or overdone things. So the very first time I meditated for about 15 minutes, and I would say it's borderline dangerous even, I think, to do it that way. You're setting yourself up for just kind of a weird experience. I always recommend now a person's kind of start small and work their way into something that is a little bit more meaningful. Did you start off with 30 minutes or where'd you start?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I actually, my introduction to meditation actually came from those pre-podcasts 2 years ago, where we talked about neurofeedback and the Muse headband. I was like, that sounds really cool. I need to get one of those. So the Muse headband, you just put it on your head, it connects to Bluetooth on your phone, and it lets you know, like, if you're in the proper brainwave states that it wants for meditation, and the volume changes based on your brainwave state. And once it gets super quiet, you start hearing birds chirping, and you're like, your goal is to hear birds chirping. And I started out, okay, I'm going to do this for 5 minutes.
Right.
I heard like 4 birds the entire time. And this, as like when I do every day or twice a day, and I just kept doing it for like 6 weeks straight, where I was just, okay, I'm only gonna focus on this. And when I did that, I naturally focused on my breath and naturally counted when I was focusing on my breath. That's just something I kind of came to. So it almost became like a breath work session for me. A very rudimentary one, but
it's a great way to focus. It's a great way to center. So absolutely. It looks like Shane Walker used to be in a rock band and has meditated with Buddhist monks.
Yes, sweet.
He says, y'all are my crowd. What's up, Shane?
Yeah. So I did get to study with some lamas over the weekend one time, and that was really interesting.
Yeah. Well, actually, before COVID, there I said it. Now I can't monetize the video. Well, anyway, I do it every time. I always have to go back and I'm not trying to make any statements. But yeah, before everything hit, actually, a fellow Wim Hof method instructor and I, we had plans to use. There's a monastery, a Buddhist monastery in Bloomington, Indiana, that we were thinking about using for a retreat. So, really, yeah, some really beautiful stuff out there. But then you've
been looking for a retreat, actually. So
look no further, my friend. Look no further. That's the cool thing. I get whenever after I'm hoping the spring will bring an openness to the whole world, and man, I've got so many plans. It's going to be crazy. So I'm
ready.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so ready. So, but it's December. It's discipline December. Where did this idea come from? Tell us about it, and how can people join? Because this is something that I'm interested in as well during this time period. So let's hear about it.
So, I'm a madman when it comes to focusing down and doing things. And I'm like a former college athlete. So I have that kind of mentality in my head. I came through like a couple of knee injuries, and it just really immobilized me for a long time. And about 3 years ago, I was like, you know what? I need to make some changes. And the first change I was going to make was like, I'm just going to eat whole foods, nothing but whole foods, no processed foods, nothing like that, for an entire month. And I'm going to do it through Christmas, so I'm going to really punish myself.
That's tough. Yeah. That's a tough one. So, this is the time of year where most people get off of the train,
So I started that in 2018, and I did it fairly easily. I said, you know what, instead of just doing this, because this isn't tough enough for me, I want more. I was like, I'm going to add some things. I added miles for run, walk, bike, essentially. However you get your miles in, and getting your miles biked in December is really tough for me.
Yeah. Get some cold training in.
Yeah, it's except for my hands get numb too quick. I need to figure that one out.
Yeah. Gloves, man. Gloves, they work.
Sometimes. Depends on how cold it gets. When it's like
that's true.
20 degrees outside, that wind chill's getting to you. I added push-ups. I did body weight squats. My knees are really torn up anyway to begin with. And I did planks. And at that time, I was like, okay, I need to really focus on my meditation too. So I added meditation to it.
Beautiful.
And that was it. It has evolved since then. Last year, I did just with some group of friends that I had. Last year, I changed it a little bit because everybody was complaining that it went through Christmas. And said, okay, we'll run it for 3 weeks and then stop. And I cut everything down a little bit, and then I blew through it. It was too easy for me. So this year we're sitting talking about it in between podcasts one time. And Zach's like, we should really focus on this on the podcast and really like blast it out, because it's really just almost been like a personal thing that I've been doing myself.
Yeah.
And but we changed a few things this year. Instead of doing the body weight squats, we decided to change it to wall squats. And
wall squats,
wall squats and planks, I think, are more signs of discipline than like actually doing body weight squats, because it's really, a wall squat is more mental than it is physical. Usually your mind gives up before your body does.
Yeah, that's the thing. Any of those static holds, that's okay. I like it.
And then I changed it so that now you have different levels with people that are coming in. So you can come in at beginner, intermediate, or I think I chose extreme for the third level, which is what I do.
Of course, why not? Let's start
I
there.
also changed the meditation and breath work, and I doubled the number for that one, because that one's probably the easiest one for me to get now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
At the extreme level, I'm looking for 400 minutes of meditation or breath work in December, and I'm already like over halfway there.
Mary Bowden, a friend of mine, Mary Bowden, she says she uses the Muse as a dedicated class at my former place of work. For a lot of people, it got them to learn how to sit still. Yes. I think that's a really tough one. She says the breath classes were the most popular, but man, just sitting still.
Yeah. So they've actually got a new Muse headband. I have the version 1, and version 3 is called the S. And it's actually instead of just being like a cheap, like little halo that wraps around your ears, it's a stretchy band that goes all the way around your head.
Yeah.
And you can actually sleep with it now. And you just pull the sensor out, and you can charge it and then pop it back in whenever you want to use it. But it measures like respiratory rate all night and different things like that too. So,
okay. So here's the thing. I'm at my home. Right over here is the Christmas tree. And I know my wife got me something this year. She's like, no, you're going to love it. You're not going to look at it. There was a day that it arrived that I could not look at, what was coming in the mail or whatever. And so the thing is, I've been wanting to get one of either the ring. This is not whatever that ring is called.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do that. I had the most I've ever had was like Fitbit or like a watch with some of those biometrics on there. I do have a heart math. I don't know if you've heard of heart math.
I have.
It's that little, I got the thing that you stick to your ear.
Yep. Clips
and
to
it
your
does.
ear.
Yeah. And I find that to be, I really do like using that. I enjoy, data, right? Data is awesome.
So I'm using
you agree
a new Apple Watch. I was using the 5. I bought the 6 because it arbitrarily, or not arbitrarily, but measures your blood O2 level throughout the day. I had the 5 before,
so why not?
Because it had the EKG on. I've got some issues with my heart.
Okay.
And then I used the Whoop strap, which is the one that Joe Rogan was using. This one also measures heart rate variability, and it's a 24/7 wear. So this one tells me like when I'm like in REM sleep, when I'm in deep sleep, or when I'm like get up or move around in the middle of the night. This one tells me all that.
Go ahead. Now that one though, the Whoop strap is a subscription. Is that right? You get the strap for free, but then it's a monthly thing.
Yeah, it's like $30 a month. And I really got both of these because I had some issues with my heart and I wanted to nail it down for my cardiologist. So this one, I
Yeah.
can list off what my heart rate was at any point. And this, if I'm having something weird going on, I can do an EKG.
Isn't that cool? An
Yeah.
EKG on your
Yes.
wrist? I
Yep.
don't even. Wow. Okay. So yeah. I miss out because I was really tracking my sleep patterns. That's something
Yeah.
I'm really, really serious about because I've never had good sleep. What's up, Adoraxia? Adoraxia. I love that name.
Sounds like a metal band. I like it.
I believe it is in Adoraxia. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's synonymous to like a Nirvana in it's a very clever business strategy. Oh, well, yeah, the Whoop band is, Adoraxia says. But Adoraxia is like Nirvana it's like Greek. It's like a state, you come to a state of Adoraxia. Isn't that right? Maybe you can help me out. Luke. It's Luke. Adoraxia. Okay. I'm drawing a blank. Is it my friend Luke who moved out to Portland, or not Portland, but Oregon recently? Calmness. Okay. Just myself says calmness. Okay. Yeah. I forget the backstory to Adoraxia. But anyway, I'm getting off topic because, hey, we're just having a fun time. There it is. Stoic word for equanimity. There it is. Okay. So,
I like it. I like that word a lot.
Oh, okay. This is my Wim Hof method brother from Spain. Hey, brother.
Oh, awesome.
Nice to have you here. Yeah, we're just talking. Okay, so yeah, let's get back. I'm sorry for getting off topic, but yeah,
I love that.
but basically, okay. So you've got the Whoop band, you've got the Apple Watch. So whenever you do Discipline December, is this something where you see significant changes? Or, I guess the big thing about these months of, like, a lot of people do this sober October. The reason I have this beard is because, like, I don't know how many years ago I did one of those no shave Novembers, and I realized I found my true self. I was like, where have you been my whole life? So Ootsborn, nice to see you here. Good to have you, my friend. But yeah, so when it comes to your Discipline December, do you normally see big changes? Or I guess it would depend on what your regular lifestyle is like.
Yeah. So the first year I did it, I dropped 30 pounds in 30 days.
Okay.
So that was a huge step, because I really sat down. I was like, I need to change. I'd hurt my knees. I'd hurt my hip. I'd put on a bunch of weight, and I was like, I need to get this off. And so I started with that. And that was the beginning of me turning my life around. Was the first time I did that.
Yeah.
The second year I did it was the one that I kept going because I'd bought a bike right before then.
Yeah.
And between that bike and staying steady on the diet that I stay on for the most part, I shed a ton of weight. I think I shed like 150 pounds in 9 months.
Jeez, that's awesome.
October of 2019 through like June of 2020.
That is, and see, now that's amazing. And you've kept it off.
Yeah, I've fluctuated a little bit now that it's getting cold outside and I can't get out as much.
Yeah.
But I'm finding different ways to maintain, and a lot of it fell off a little bit too fast for me. So I'm trying to like maintain that mid-level.
Find a basement or something like that. Yeah, a buddy of mine, it's crazy. His birthday was just a couple of days ago, and I saw a picture of when he turned 25. He turned 35 yesterday or the day before, and it was a totally different person. I didn't know him back then, but when there's some times whenever a person says, "Hey, I'm going to make a change." Yeah. And it's just amazing what can happen. I used to I was 240 pounds because I was constantly bulking. That was my excuse. I was like, what's the guy Mac on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? I was cultivating mass.
Yeah.
And so I got to the point where, and this is before I started yoga or any breath work, meditation, anything like that. It was just a big deal for me to actually exercise, because most of my life was just devoid of all. Alex, I do identify with my beard, just so you know. That was a question. But most of my life was devoid of all physical or any kind of discipline. And I remember going to yoga, and I couldn't do a lot of things because it was like parts of me were just in the way. And I was like, okay, I have to make a change. And so, the rest is history, but a lot of it comes down to just, daily habits, little things sometimes,
Yeah.
But now, so how long have you been doing Discipline December?
This is the third year of it.
Okay. And so each year, so this is year number 3.
Yeah.
We're only 9 days in.
Yep.
Is there any kind of like transitional state that is like, some withdrawals or anything that you miss?
I kind of prepped up for it by eating crap like up to the day before. So I was like, I'm not going to see any of this for a while, because even like things that I would sneak into my diet normally, I'm not like, I get to the point where I don't even like use store-bought salad dressings anymore because it's processed.
Okay. So you're getting really down to it. Okay. That's really cool. So, Zach just not to interrupt, but Zach is on, and he says he can't believe he agreed to it. He says, I can't believe I agreed to this. I can barely move currently from trying to keep up with Seth. Glad I caught this before I have to meditate myself. Snake Diet is wondering if I'm interviewing myself. No, you see the difference. You can tell the difference between Seth and I, because he has electric guitars behind him and I have acoustic guitars behind me. Yeah. Oh, so I still have my electric guitar. It is a 1990 or 1995 Fender Stratocaster. It's their anniversary edition, but in all the tumult, like I went through some tumultuous years, and during some of the tumult, it happened to stay over at a friend of mine's house, and it's been over there for over a decade. It's still my guitar. When I go over, we play, but like he's played it so much that he had to have it repaired. And he's like, hey, just so you know, I had to put some new this or that on there, and this part needed to get taken out. And I was like, do I owe you money for that? He's like, dude, I've been playing it for the past, 5 or 10 years here. Like, okay. So I could bring it home now. I've had 10 years of good life, but for some reason, it just feels right to stay over there. The 12 string, the black one is a 12 string, and I had it over there for years too. But anyway, so that's how you know the difference. Most of it, let's see. Just Myself says, when are we going to get a guitar music video? You know what? So I started one of my lives out playing some guitar the other day, because I went through about a year, Seth. And this is what I oftentimes get people asking me, is it, I forget the name of the ring that is the biometric ring. Yeah. A lot of people ask me about that. They'll see it on a video. And no, just so you guys know, this is because my finger is all deformed and stuff from jujitsu. So I broke this finger like right here in this weird spot, and it grew back funny because I happen to practice a lot of things that keep my inflammation down. So I didn't realize that it was broken. I kept going back to jujitsu. It grew back a little funny. So the knuckle is a little big, so I have to wear one of these. But then I came back from Poland in January, and I broke my middle finger. And so I actually do have, I've never shared it. Maybe I'll share that on my birthday or something. My birthday's coming up, but maybe I'll share it. But I have what is it? What are the pictures of your bones? X-ray. Yeah. I have an X-ray of me flipping off the X-ray machine. It's awesome. But anyway,
so those are called Aura rings.
Aura rings. That's right.
Yeah.
See, I always, sadly enough, this is embarrassing, but I have to tell you guys, I I used to always call them Nouveau rings. And that is apparently it's a birth control device. And so I'm like, that's the only thing that comes to mind because I see it on commercials all the time. You don't see the ones that are the ones that, okay, hey, if you want to take your health seriously, get one. No, you see the prescription stuff. but anyway, yeah. So that's why I stopped playing guitar for a long time because my fingers were all broken. Wow. Anyway, so
I will tell you one good thing about this ring is if someone's worried about Bluetooth or Wi-Fi signal while they're sleeping, that one's supposed to be like signal free. So it just collects all the data right there on the ring. So you don't have to worry about any kind of electromagnetic frequencies.
Cool. Yeah. A buddy of mine has one of those. And every time I hang out with him, like, yeah, I'm going to go home and order one. And I always forget. Now you got to figure out because you've got all the gadgets, and so I'm going to figure out one to get. So, but anyway, I'm sorry. Like always, we always get off of topic. Back to the Discipline December. So, first of all, this is something you're doing through Dissonant Harmony, which is your podcast.
Yes.
And you've got Seth. He just checked in. Zach, I'm sorry. Yeah. You're Seth. Zach just checked in, and he's on board.
He is sore.
So what if some of the guys and gals watching, Sabrina, who's making fun of me for what are the pictures of your bones? Yeah, well, I had a moment. I had a brain fart. How can people find out more about this? I'm going to put all of the stuff, all of the links in this video after it, does whatever YouTube does to it. But if they want to find out right now, I'll type now just how would they find how to get on board?
You have to ask someone that knows someone that
knows it's a Fight Club type of a deal.
No, it's I created a Facebook event for it. If you go to our Facebook page, which is Dissonant Harmony, you go through our events, it's down there. If you go to dissonantharmony.com and look for any of the Discipline December podcasts, I've got the link for it in the show notes for those. Other than that, just start eating whole foods. And
so it's a whole foods thing, whole foods. And then the wall squats.
Yeah.
Basically, you're trying to
squats, planks, meditation. And then Zach and I have added some extra things, which really just to, push it up above the extreme. So I gave Zach my old Apple Watch, and I told him we're having like the ring challenges where whoever gets more rings closed throughout the week, the following week, that person has to get their miles by running. And we both hate running.
So rings.
So on an Apple Watch, you have 3 sets of rings. You have a stand ring, which you get a credit for an hour if you stand up for at least 1 minute every hour, which is good for someone like me who sits in an office all day.
Gotcha.
You have an exercise ring, which every time you do 30 minutes exercise, it closes the ring. And then you have something called a movement ring, which is the number of calories you've burned while moving that day. And we set that to an arbitrary 1,000 calories, which is quite a bit for a ring just to be moving. And Zach lost last week.
So he lost last week. So Zach, if you're still watching,
he has to get all of his miles this week by running, and he knows that.
Yeah, I'm not a big runner, and I like you, Seth. I have, I've got the knees, as the elder folks say. I have the knees. I've never liked running, even though I ran cross country in high school, it's one of those things. I did it. I was just like, I don't know why I'm doing this. It was just kind of like a thing. And then my wife started running, and she was getting into marathon stuff. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do, because I'm a good husband. I'm going to go, I'm going to run. I'm going to run with my wife, get all kinds of brownie points. This is going to be great. So I went out with my wife, and she had, of course, proper running attire. All I had was gym clothes, which is great if you're into weight training and maybe playing basketball or something. But I it was like in that first week of running distance in my Chucks. Of all things, high top Chucks, I tore my meniscus. And so, at some point between then and now, I tore the other one. I don't really even know how. It's just kind of a thing where it's like, okay, that knee's starting to hurt. I don't know. But the point is, so my knees don't really give me a lot there. I love rowing. So row machine is probably my favorite way of getting cardio in. And I saw this thing at a concert one time. And if you're in, like, there's the Viking metal. It's like a whole genre of Viking metal.
Yes, it is.
And these guys sat down and they started pretending that they were rowing.
Yeah, that they do that instead of a mosh pit. In lieu of a mosh pit, they row.
And so I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so this is kind of cool. And so I am a fan of the show, The Vikings. And so I started watching on my little, on my phone. I started watching episodes of The Vikings while rowing. And I was like, okay, all right. Those little things. Sometimes it's the little things. Sabrina agrees. Rowing is awesome cardio.
So I am actually in the market for a rowing machine right now, but it's really difficult to find one for someone my height. So.
Oh yeah. How tall are you?
6'10" and a half.
Oh, geez. Yeah. For those of you guys who don't go by feet and inches, that's like
centimeters, I think.
Airplanes are up there. That's, that's a very tall man. That's a very tall man. NBA stuff at that point. I'm 6'1". So yeah, you're a good head or shoulders ahead of me. So
yeah.
But anyway, so Discipline December is starting. It's going all the way throughout, and this year it'll go till Christmas.
Go to the end. It actually goes until December 31st.
Okay, it goes to December 31st. So you can still celebrate New Year's Eve if you would like. Just you wait till midnight and then start your parties.
Like I told Zach the other day, it's you think of this as like a percentage based thing. So if you have to like eat with the family on Christmas and there's no alternative for you, and it's just something that's in your being and in your soul, and it's going to cause you more harm than good to not do it, who cares? Do it. I mean, you think about like on a test, we actually started I started the list on November 29th, just so I could have full weeks in there. But it's 33 days total to do that. And if you miss one or two on a 33 question test, you're still getting an A.
Well, and that's the thing is where I when it comes to these like Discipline December or any kind of a month where it is a certain kind of a focus, right? So, they have what is it? No Nut November and all these.
Screw that.
But the thing is, like, they've got all of these different months where it's like, okay, we're going to focus in on this one aspect of health or well-being or whatever. And for me, it's like, okay, as long as you're using it as a way maybe to help yourself. But whenever it gets to be something where it's like, man, I'm waking up and I hate my life. And, that just completely ruins the whole point, right? Yeah. Because it's like, I mean, the whole point of this is to live a happier, healthier life that you would like to be a long life, right?
Yeah.
The whole point is, it's like, why would you want to live a long life if it sucks?
So yeah, and this actually started a snowball effect for me, which I was actually into the Wim Hof stuff a little before when I heard him on the Tim Ferriss podcast first.
Cool.
And I was like, holy crap, this is really cool stuff. And I bought in right away and started going through his first session when it was that big 10-week hardcore session.
The first course?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Put it in the pelvis, man. That's my favorite quote. My favorite quote from that whole thing. Put it in the pelvis.
And then just started snowballing from there, where I started working on that. I started working on my physical health, my mental health. I do have a history of Alzheimer's in my family. So I look at a lot of brain health. I've had a history of concussions. I was looking for anti-inflammatory stuff because when I stopped playing football, I stopped playing because I tore my ACL, MCL, and PCL at one time.
That's a lot of L's.
And my leg could just bend straight like that to the side. Oh. And it was... my athletic trainers thought, oh yeah, this is really cool. And we were on a small semi-pro program, arena program that they just packed me on the bus and fed me some beer and said, oh, we'll get you to the hospital when we get home, like 7 hours away.
Oh my God.
Set in the back for that.
it's like a 19th century medicine. Just
Kind of.
liquor him up and then,
Yeah.
geez.
But so I've had all those things, and like I have dealt with anxiety and depression my whole life. I just didn't realize I was dealing with it sometimes. I just knew that I was quick to
Yeah.
anger a lot when I shouldn't have been. And like every one of those aspects of my life have just improved dramatically just from focusing on one thing and then letting it focus on another thing and just keep compounding it till like this year. Honestly, the goals that we set for like the metrics for the miles, the push-ups, the wall squats, the planks, the meditation brother, I can probably double those, no problem. Those don't bother me at all. Zach and I did add an extra thing where we're supposed to write and record a song to be played at the end of the month, because we're
so that's an additional, like a creativity goal. I love creativity goals. That's awesome.
Zach and I are both like really bad at hitting our own like deadlines when we can do stuff for other people too.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give a teaser. Okay. A quick teaser. We're not going to give it away because I want to keep it a secret a little bit, but Seth is also possibly working on something for me. That's it. That's all I'm not even going to say any more than that. Okay. But
you don't know any more than that because I haven't given you anything.
That's true. That's pretty much, I'm not going to say what it's for or how it will eventually manifest, but yeah, I'm all about the integration of health and creativity. I mean, all of it has to do with self-respect and, becoming an individual, becoming who you really are. And so I'm looking forward to hearing some of those
I'd say
tunes.
the only other person that knows anything about that is my co-host Zach, because I bounce a lot of ideas off of him.
Oh, Zach,
so
get in on that. Yeah,
he'll probably be the first one to hear it before anybody else. And Zach, he's probably nice to a fault, unless you write crappy music, and then he'll let you know in a heartbeat.
Well, that's the thing about musicians. A lot of times, I remember, these were my best friends I would be in bands with, or we'd become that way after a while. And then some of the things that we would say to each other about our performance or about the thing that this or that, it was a good thing that we were close friends and we knew, okay, you can't take it personally. It's, and I'd rather get honest criticism than, just like, no, it's fine, man. Yeah, it's good.
Absolutely.
That's just, it's not even helpful at that point. It's just like, okay, why did I ask? So, but okay. So let's wrap this up. We've had about a half hour of chat. Seth, also Seth is part of the Patreon club, and you need to schedule, maybe after this, we'll schedule a session. So we need to get you, we need to breathe you.
I need to breathe. And that's going to count towards my time when I do that too. So,
Zach, you're
also, I had the Evansville ISL Float Center reach out to me like, we want to do this too. It's like, this floating town is meditating. It's like, absolutely, it does. You're going to knock out that part of it real quick. So
floating, anytime I've ever floated, it's almost like it's like steroids for meditation.
Yeah,
have this out of body experience a lot of times when I go.
Yeah. I actually tried to muscle through a float one time. I was like, okay, I'm going to do my first 90-minute float.
That's a long one.
And I tried to muscle through that. 60 minutes is usually pretty good for me.
Yeah.
90 minutes. My brain got weird on 90 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Quick,
you start seeing light shows and a lot of stuff.
Well, that's the part I enjoy. It's when I started hearing the voices in there and I heard the music playing to wake me up before it was supposed to wake me up. I was like, what's going on? So I got out at like 65 minutes. I was like, man, my brain just wasn't ready for that. And it was a weird day anyway. So I did it for the first time in the evening. So there's a whole lot of different factors going into it. And it's the only, like, it wasn't even bad. It was just almost unnerving. So I thought people were walking into the room where I was at the whole time because I hear voices.
It would get annoying or distracting at some point. Yeah, I've only floated a few times. My wife is hooked on that. She's not into the cold exposure, and she blames it on her Puerto Rican heritage. She's like, "Well, I come from the islands, and we don't do that." I'm like, it's not an excuse, and you know it, but. Okay. Yeah. But she's like, that's why I need to float. And it's salt water. It's part of my DNA. I'm like, Yes, I will pay for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she loves it. And I love it too. But it's just one of those things you get out, you feel so good, all that magnesium. And I mean, it's just great for you. So yeah, so definitely that counts for meditation and a half.
So
So
officially, we do have like a spreadsheet where you can type everything in and you can use that, but that's only if like you want to officially track and do what we're doing. Really, it's about being disciplined with yourself. The whole baseline of it is the whole foods non-processed thing. After that, find something that works for you. If push-ups aren't going to work for you, or pull-ups or dips or anything that you want to throw in there, do what you can do and pick a number that's going to make you do it more than for 1 week, because anybody can blast through anything for a week. So find something that's going to take you 3 or 4 or 5 weeks to do, and just work on it, get it in there.
That. I like that. Yeah. Because if you can, anybody can white knuckle a week, but then oftentimes if you white knuckle that week, you have this relapse and it's this backlash that's even worse than if you had just stayed normal for that week. So I love that. So, hey, Seth, thanks so much for being on here. I wanted a chance to share Discipline December with the audience. Guys, I am also partaking in this. And what that means, the biggest thing that means for me is no pizza. That's my biggest struggle. But yeah, it's a good thing to find these little ways to challenge ourselves. And then of course, forgive yourself whenever you might make a little slip up here and there. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and check out after we get done recording this, I'm going to go ahead and put the link to Seth's Facebook group and page. And you can join up with Dissonant Harmony and listen to all sorts of cool stuff. I can't wait to hear about the ketamine. I didn't get a chance to listen to that one, so I'm going to listen to that pretty soon. Anyway, guys, thanks so much. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to go out there and be kind to one another.
Absolutely.